Hey guys, Dharc here, and today I'm going to bring my Branded Kozmo deck, which is a deck I've been tinkering with online, and it's a really cheap deck that you can build for under £100, and obviously has some really fun upgrades with things like adding Aluber, Branded Opening, Branded in Red, and so on. So, let's get into the profile. We have 3 copies of Kozmo Dharc Destroyer. Kozmo Dharc Destroyer is obviously the big Cosmos. They can't be targeted. They have an effect on normal or special summon. Kozmo Dharc Destroyer gets to pop 1 monster on the field, and then if they're destroyed by card effect, you get to banish this card from the graveyard and special summon 1 level 7 or lower Kozmo from your deck. Very important card. It's 3k, can't be targeted, and has a relevant on summon effect. It's really easy to destroy in this deck to get, because we're playing some tech cards to help us pop this card and Kozmo Town. And obviously it's a Dharc for Branded Fusion if we need to send it. It can be banished off things like Albion, then added back with Kozmo Town. There's lots of ways to keep the Cosmos in rotation because they're light and dark, which are useful for us. And obviously, it being 3k can't be targeted can make it very difficult for some decks to out this. We then have 3 copies of Kozmo Tin Can. Kozmo Tin Can is a level 1 Psychic, so it's summoned with Emergency Teleport, as most of the Kozmo pilots are. And they all share a quick effect. You can banish this card and then special summon 1 Kozmo monster with a higher level from your hand, and then they all have an effect that usually revolves around paying some life points. Tin Can allows you to pay 500 during the end phase, reveal 3 Kozmo cards with different names. Your opponent picks 1 randomly to go to the hand, and then the rest go to the graveyard. Very useful for setting up things in your hand, and dumps them in the grave where you can easily get them back later in the turn, again through things like banishing with Albion, recycling with Kozmo Town. We then play 2 copies of Kozmo Strawman, or Kozmo Reddit Argument, or Kozmo Twitter Argument, depending on what you prefer. During either player's turn, banish this card, special summon 1 level 3 or higher, and then once per turn you can pay 500, target 1 banished Kozmo monster, special summon it, but its effects are negated, and destroy it during the end phase. This helps you OTK by fetching back a banished Dharc Destroyer. Obviously won't get its effect, but it's an extra 3k damage that you can easily put on board, and also if you haven't committed to branded plays, allows you to easily go into Lyna or Dharc, the Dharc Charmer, for extension and robbing cards out of your opponent's bin. One Kozmo Farm Girl. Farm Girl is your main OTK enabler, because it triggers during the battle phase, so it allows you to search during the battle phase if it inflicts damage, and then obviously you search for Dharc Destroyer, banish it after it's attacked. Dharc Destroyer comes down, pops something else, 3k direct. It's very easy to end games with Farm Girl. Then, for the last couple of pilots, we play 1 Kozmo Sword Trooper. This allows you to special summon a Psychic type Kozmo monster in your graveyard. Very important at the cost of 1,000 life points. Very important for recycling, again, Farm Girls, Strawmans, and so on. And it's a Dharc low level that, again, is relevant for the branded plays, and has the usual banishing effect on your opponents, well, as a quick effect. Our final pilot is Kozmo Dark Lady. Dark Lady, or Darth Vader, but gender swapped, is a pilot, but it's a bit different. It's a level 5 monster. It still has the banish effect, but most importantly, it has a monster negate effect at the cost of 1,000 life points, so this is a very useful card to give us just an extra interrupt, because this deck does not put up many interrupts. It's generally a going second deck using the powerful board breaking skills of Mirrorjade and Dharc Destroyer to enable us to break through their board and then easily OTK. For the other 2 ships we're just playing 2 more ships. We play 1 Kozmo Slip Rider. This gets rid of problematic back row. Any spell trap on the field, destroy it. That includes your copies of Kozmo Town, very important to remember that. Has the banish from the graveyard to special summon a level 4 Kozmo on the deck from the deck. This is generally only useful because sometimes you just need to break through an annoying floodgate or clear an imperm or force an imperm, so you can make other plays go through. And then our final ship is the Cosmo Forerunner. This gives us some much needed life points. Again, can't be targeted. It's a very easy card to go into after Dark Destroyer. And it's just another big bungus that we can easily access, enabling us to continue just going through the motions of the Cosmo cards. They all chain into each other. So yes, during your standby phase, you get to gain 1,000 life points, and then it has the standard Destroy effect, getting you any level 6 or lower Cosmo from your deck. Onto the branded portion of the deck, we play 3 copies of Springans Kit. This is obviously would be Aluber if we could play that, but I wanted to keep this under £100, so Kit is the next best thing, and can be relevant in the cases of when you've drawn the branded fusion and then you get to special summon it for an extra 1700 damage. So this can help you secure some of your OTKs very easily. Also, the putting back a card, we have lots of cards we don't mind putting back into the deck, so the downside of Kit compared to Aluber is minimal in this strategy. We play 2 Fallen of Albaz, the standard number. You could go up to 3, it's very nice. We're going second, so its fusion effect is relevant. It's a very, very important card. It's also a Dark Dragon, which is relevant for a couple of things in the extra. But generally, we do actually fuse with this card's effect a bit more than other decks because we are blinding second here. But generally, it's obviously our main branded fusion target. Now, for our other branded fusion target, and a really important card that you probably don't know exists, is Borrowload Riot Dragon. This card is insane for the Cosmos. So, we ignore any of the ritual summoning bits. We only look at the graveyard effect of this card. If it's in your graveyard, you can target 1 Borrow or Rocket monster in your graveyard. It's a Borrow monster. It doesn't say it can't target itself. That's really important. You get to add that target to your hand, and then destroy 1 card you control in your hand, or in your hand. This pops Dark Destroyers, which lets you get any Cosmo from your deck. It pops Cosmo Town, which lets you get any Cosmo from your deck. It gives you free dark material to discard with Allure of Darkness. It does so much for this deck, and we only need the 1 copy because we can use Branded Fusion as a Foolish Burial to ensure it gets into the graveyard. This is the most important tech piece in the deck, and is part of the reason the deck works. It's a very cool card, and I think more people should realise how good this is for allowing you to pop any card you control or in your hand. We then, because we're blinding second, we play the 1 Pancratops. Standard can be summoned very, very easily and has a quick effect to destroy any card on the field. Baits negates, beats over stuff, and just all round makes your opponent commit their negates and interaction earlier than they want to. For our spells, we play, of course, the 3 Branded Fusion, very, very important card. It's a double Foolish Burial in this deck. It lets us get to mirrorjade. And it dumps Borrowload Riot Dragon in the bin, which is the most important thing for the Cosmo plays. The fusion lock doesn't matter because all we are doing is making fusions and Cosmo plays. However, there will be times where we want to make the Charmers and so on in the grind game, so just be aware of that when you want to make those Charmers. If you were going to upgrade, I would definitely consider adding cards like Branded in Red to this, and a small Despia package, to allow you to use things like Branded Lost, which is the next card we're going for, to search for more things and to just give you more ways of using the extra material that Cosmo gives you for things like Guardian Chimera. Anyway, Branded Lost. This is obviously another nice card that Kit can search if we already have the fusion. It obviously is a magical meltdown. Again, you can Ash Blossom Branded Fusion when Branded Lost is on the field. Do not fall into that trap of thinking you can't, or thinking that you are safe from the Ash Blossom. It's very, very important. But the main thing is it allows you to build chains, and obviously use your Cosmos to build their chains, because a lot of them have quick effects, when your opponent can't interact with them. We then play the 3 Cosmo Town. Cosmo Town, it has 3 really relevant effects. that all are not hard once per turn. If you have multiple copies of this, you can use each effect multiple times for each copy. Once per turn, target one banished Cosmo monster, return it to the hand, lose life points equal to its level times 100. Very, very valuable. Obviously, most of your Cosmos banish themselves somehow, either through their being destroyed or through their own banishing effects. So this gives you much needed recycling, again puts it back in the hand for cards like Allure of Darkness. Then you get to Mulligan. So if you play other TCGs, Mulligan is where you get to shuffle part or all of your hand back into a deck and then redraw that number. So a card like Magical Mallet, in this case, it's free because it's on the field spell, it doesn't cost you a card, and you get to put back your big ships and draw into things like Branded Fusion, which is very important. And then finally, if it's destroyed by a card effect while it's in the field zone, you can add one Cosmo card from your deck to your hand. Remember, this has to be in the field zone when it's destroyed by card effect, so don't try destroy it with Borreload Riot Dragon in your hand. Activate it first. Not that it makes that much difference, but just remember that you do need to activate this card before you target it with Borreload Riot Dragon. But it's a phenomenally good card. Obviously, multiple copies makes it even better because you just get to cycle through so much of your deck, and obviously keep recycling your Cosmos, which enables you to go through in grindier games. We're then playing 3 Allure of Darkness. The majority of this deck is Dharc. I considered Pot of Extravagance, but it conflicts quite heavily with Cosmo Town, so I went for Allure of Darkness, especially because we can recycle most of the targets that we're going to banish with this, and digging 2 cards deep is very, very strong. Yeah, and things like, obviously, if we open Branded Fusion, we can then Branded Fusion, dump the Borreload Riot Dragon and the Albaz, do our Mirrorjade line, then Allure of Darkness, use the copy of Riot Dragon to add itself back to the hand, then use Allure of Darkness, banishing the Riot Dragon as a sort of free material after we've plussed off its effect to get a Cosmo piece or what have you. So just those extra 2 cards are very, very useful. 3 copies of Emergency Teleport. This card should not have come to 3. I am 100% convinced that that was the wrong play. Special summon 1 level 3 or lower psychic monster from your hand or deck, banish it during the end phase. All of your Cosmos have quick effects. Note it says during the end phase, so you can Tin Can, search something, and then immediately use Tin Can's effect before Teleport would banish it to banish Tin Can itself and summon out that Cosmo piece. Very, very important for those sorts of plays. Obviously, it helps us enable OTKs by getting Farm Girl out of the deck. It helps us recycle stuff by getting Saw Trooper or Strawman out of the deck, or it helps us start plays by getting Tin Can out of the deck. And it's quick play. The going second card of the piece, Dark Ruler No More. You know what this card does. This deck is obviously a going second deck. Yes, it conflicts with the OTK, but the ability for us to break boards cleanly with Dark Ruler No More is really, really important. Just be aware that some Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss setups can negate Dark Ruler No More by chaining a spell or a trap to the activation of Dark Ruler and then using Abyss to negate the Dark Ruler because they're no longer chaining directly to Dark Ruler. But it's still a phenomenally good going second card, and it's only going to get better when Splite and Tiara Element come into play, and we need to stop things like Winder and Toad. For our power one-offs, we play 1 Terraforming, gets us to Cosmo Town. Very, very useful. Baits the Ash Blossom, especially when they don't know what you're playing. 1 Gold Sarcophagus, again, puts something banished from the deck. We can then add it back with Cosmo Town. Very, very easy to get to because we have so much access to Cosmo Town. And then finally, for our traps, we play the 2 Dogmatica Punishment. Very, very good removal. And again, we don't really care about the extra deck lock because we're not using it. We're going to have already summoned our Mirrorjade and things after that, and we're using this to break the board after our opponents have done things. And obviously, sending Entis is good. Obviously, we can also send things like Albion to get Branded Fusion, or, although that's not the best thing to do, or Sprint to get copies of Kit, and so on, if we absolutely need to. But generally, we'll be sending Entis. And then finally, we're playing the one copy of Yugioh because it's a searchable Cosmo card. It's a non-targeting banish and a DD Crow in one card. It destroys a Cosmo monster, so you can pop your Dark Destroyer, get out your Forerunner or something similar, or your Slip Rider, pop a card with Slip Rider and banish something with Yugioh. It's very, very strong. Or indeed Dark Lady for a monster negate. For the extra deck's very, very simple because we don't rely on it. Most of it is going to be branded stuff, just for the niche times where it comes up. We have 3 copies of Mirrorjade. Yeah, this card needs no introduction at this point. 1 Fusion Synchro Exeasel Link Monster plus Fallen of Albaz, very, very strong. A quick effect banish that is every other turn, but also not a hard once per turn. So if you summon a Mirrorjade, get rid of it, and then make another one, you can banish twice. Very, very important to remember that. It does not remember that a Mirrorjade's effect was activated because there's no hard once per turn on it. You can only control 1 of this, that's the other relevant thing to remember, and then has a nasty blow up the field effect as well. We then play the 3 Lubellion. This is the card we'll go into most often because it dumps Borrowload Riot Dragon, and then shuffles back the Albaz into the deck and itself. Again, we're playing 3 because we don't really mind about our extra deck space. Obviously, there are upgrades, but they tend to be expensive. Cards like Masquerade, Guardian Chimera, Albulenitus are all good cards that you could play, but I wanted to keep this deck as cheap as possible. Lubellion lets us fuse any level 8 or lower fusion monster except itself. Very important, there are a few other things we will fuse with this that aren't Mirrorjade. 2 Albion, this branded dragon. Albion is obviously the light monster target. We make this considerably less often, but sometimes we want to banish stuff so we can add it back with Cosmo Town. And it also lets us set a branded spell trap from the deck, which is very important for follow-up turns. One Sprint, we're never making this, we're just using it to send so we can search a Springen's kit off Mirrorjade, again for more follow-up. 1 Predaplant Dragostopelia. It's very, very easy to make with this deck because Fallen of Albaz exists, and just gives us a nice bit of effect negation against things like the mirror match. Two Elder Entity Entis as our Dogmatic Punishment target. Remember that you can only destroy, you have to target a thing with 2500 or less attack to get the Entis pop to be able to use Dogmatic Punishment. Very, very important, don't fall into that trap. Final fusion in this deck is 1 copy of Borrowload Furious Dragon. This is a quick effect Scrap Dragon. Again, 1 monster, 1 card you control. Guess what? Destroy them. You then get to use your Cosmo effects. Can be made with Mirrorjade, can be made with Albaz, can be made with Albion. Remember, it requires Dark Dragon monsters. It can also be made with with Riot Dragon. So it's just very, very good in regards to just giving us another quick effect pop that also procs our Cosmo effects. Then our final bits are the 2 light and, well, the light and the dark charmer. These are very important in the grind game where you don't have access to branded fusion and you need something to do with the extra Cosmo pieces so you can put them in the graveyard and recycle them. Again, very, very good at robbing things out of your opponent's graveyard, stealing their Mirrorjade, etc. is very fun. And also just give you a nice search if you absolutely need it by just crashing into something. So, that is the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit different to a lot of the decks I've posted. It's obviously got a decent number of upgrade paths through adding the other Albaz fusions, branded in red, branded opening, Guardian Chimera. But I think it's a very, very fun deck and uses some cards that you probably haven't seen for a while, if ever, like Borrowload Riot Dragon. And I just love the Borrowload Riot Dragon interaction with the Cosmos, and I think it just makes them work. So I hope you enjoyed watching that deck, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.